everyone, it's Ian from Collector's Corner in Worksworth. I thought I'd take a minute today to show you three really cool Moon Knight comics. And these three comics form somewhat of a holy triumvirate of Moon Knight comics. So hopefully this might be interesting to some of you. Moon Knight is probably, will be well known for appearing in the Disney Plus TV show where the character was portrayed, or characters were portrayed by Oscar Isaac, but is a long-running and hugely popular character in Marvel Comics. I might be preaching to the converted here, but there will be people out there that don't know about this, so for that reason, I thought I'd show these comics and tell you a little bit about them. Moon Knight, briefly, obviously is an American superhero who's a little bit different to most. So, as I said, created originally by Doug Monk and Don Perlin, the character has somewhat, or has been depicted as suffering from multiple personality disorder. So one of his characters is Mark Spector. One of them is Stephen Grant, billionaire Stephen Grant. One of them is taxi driver Jake Lockley, and one of them is Detective Mr. Knight. The character's origin comes from when Mark Spector, Marine and mercenary, is killed in... he is resurrected by Egyptian god of the moon, Khonshu, who then takes Mark Spector on his superhero journey. So, when did Moon Knight first appear in an American comic? Well, I can tell you that the three comics I've got here all potentially are that, but I'll show you why. You might think that Moon Knight first appeared in Moon Knight #1, and Moon Knight #1 was published in 1980. And in this comic, we get the first ever appearance of Khonshu, we get the origin of Moon Knight, and this comic is the first ever continuous solo series of Moon Knight by Doug Monk and Bill Sienkiewicz. That was published in 1980. Not the first appearance of Moon Knight. The second one I'm going to show you is a copy of Marvel Spotlight, and Marvel Spotlight 28 was published in 1976. And this comic was by Don Perlin and Doug Monk. And in this one, we get the first reveal that there are multiple personalities. We get the first appearance of Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley in this comic, and this is the very first solo Moon Knight story, published in 1976 in Marvel Spotlight 28. Not the first appearance of Moon Knight. The last one I've got here, and this will very much test the low grade is better than no grade, but this, my friends, is Werewolf by Night number 32. And Werewolf by Night 32 was published in 1975. This cover is by Al Milgrom and Gil Kane, but like the others, the internals are Doug Monk and Don Perlin. And this comic does feature the first ever appearance of Moon Knight in a comic. Thanks so much, everyone. You take care, okay? See you later. Bye.